If you're going to set out to win the British Touring Car Championship, to be quite frank, you wouldn't set out from here, position 18 on the grid. But that's exactly what Championship leader Rickard Rydell has to do, the 9th row. And the reason for that was yesterday's qualifying mistake. If you did have to start out from here, the last thing you'd want to have to do would be to race against your arch rival who's on pole position. You guessed it, that's exactly what Rickard Rydell has to do. Anthony Reid on P1. All Rickard can do now is try to pick up as many places as he possibly can without being knocked off in the process.
The Reid Nissan freight train just rolls on as if unstoppable. James Thompson's alongside. He's bursting to derail Anthony Reid. Alan Menu and David Leslie in the second Nissan make up the second row of the grid. Fine performance from Frenchman Ivan Muller in his Audi and Jason Plato in the second Renault. Row 4 is Peter Cox and the leading Volvo for Gianni Morbidelli. Matt Neal leads the Independents alongside John Cleland. And Tommy Rudstad, who's battling for the Independents Cup, has Will Hoy joining him. Rob Gravett and John Bincliffe in the second Audi, and then the first of the Peugeots for Tim Harvey and Derek Warwick in the Vauxhall. Paul Radicic and a very frustrated Rickard Rydell in row 9, and finally debutant Paula Cook in row 10.
Revs are up, ready for a start. It's Reid on the left, James Thompson in the Honda on the right, and they're away 2 by 2 off this grid. Straight across the stripes, one of the Audis is slow, and James Thompson's up into the lead. James Thompson in the Honda from P2 has moved his way past Anthony Reid. That's John Cleland in the red Vauxhall there, moving wide. That's the view from Cleland's car. Looking back now, that's Gianni Morbidelli, one of the Volvos, and look, right behind him, that's Rickard Rydell in the second of the Volvos. But look at them as they stream down Cascades for the first time. It's a huge gap for James Thompson. Then it's Reid, then it's Plato, and it's Reid's teammate, David Leslie. Round through the bottom of Nicker Brocken up to Clay Hill for the first time. That's the view from Alain Menu's car. We're on board with him now in the Renault, up under the bridge. This is the fastest part of the circuit here, 140 miles an hour, just on tippy-toe into the right-hander. Pretty good start, good circuit here for the Renaults. They like it. There's Jason Plato in the second of the Renaults, moving up behind David Leslie. So there's our second place man, Reid. Behind him, it's Menu. Behind him, it's Leslie. Hard under brakes, Leslie having a lunge at Menu as they go over the top and down through Deer Leap for the first time. Look at that lead, James Thompson. Reid still pretty much in touch. Ivan Muller and the Audis there as well, but a cracking start for James Thompson.
Nissan did all the hard work in testing and in qualifying, and to give it away so easily to Thompson in his Honda, well, Reid's got a lot of work to do. Remember, Rickard Rydell, he qualified in 19th place. He's way, way down, so everything isn't quite as bad as it might appear at this point for Reid.
Well, Reid's very much in touch now. Here's a bit of a scrap. Here's Rickard Rydell, and he's right on the rear bumper of Derek Warwick in the red Vauxhall. Now, Rydell desperately needs to pick up places. Here he is now. He's sitting back in the field, and he's out of the points. Remember, he started this race from way back. At least he's made a clean start, but this is not where he needs to be.
The difficulty Rickard Rydell faces is he can't afford to be too aggressive with Derek Warwick ahead. On the other hand, he can't afford to sit back and not make the effort to get through. He needs to consolidate his championship lead, not let Reid take lumps out of it, which is what he's going to do the way things are right now.
Well, Rickard Rydell looking pretty aggressive there as he moves up on the back of Derek Warwick. He's already picked up one place, that's for sure. That's of his teammate. And talk about picking up places, look at that gap now. Anthony Reid really moving in on the back.
Got a big fire. Not going to clear. Just come in.
John, it stays the same all the time, does it?
It stays the same all the time, whatever the revs.
Well, it's certainly been a dismal time for John Bincliffe, only 15th in this year's championship, and doesn't get any better this afternoon.
Derek Warwick, meantime, in car with him, looking for a way around the independent runner, Tommy Rudstad. Rudstad hoping to wrap up the Independence Cup this afternoon.
Did you hold it at high revs for a long time?
Did the normal procedure, the 5-second board came out, and slowly put the throttle down to the flat out position, waiting for the lights. It's the same I've done for 3 years.
Not my fault, boss. Well, Bincliffe explaining he didn't floor the throttle too hard, just wound up the revs. Not his fault if he's got an engine problem. And Anthony Reid having a bit of a grip problem there. A lock-up trying to get past James Thompson. Now we're on board with Ivan Muller. Up and over Deer Leap, right side by side with Jason Plato. There's the pictures from the front of Jason Plato's car. So Muller's around here somewhere. We're getting past the start-finish line. Now there's Muller. There's Muller there on the inside as we go into Old Hall. There's Muller indeed, giving Muller a real tickle up the tailpipe as we go over Cascades and down the hill towards Foster's, really lunging. Look at that car moving, he's really overdriving.
Ivan Muller, to me, the most impressive newcomer to British touring car racing this season, and really his future looks very, very strong in the UK.
Peter Cox moving up onto that battle with Jason Plato. Now here's another tussle. We're on board with Paul Radicic now. We're passing one of the independent runners. That's Rod Gravitt giving us a bit of a rub as we turn into the bottom of Knickerbrook. Obviously squeezing through. Now there's Menu and there's David Leslie. Now David Leslie in the second of the Nissans would sorely love to get his car on the other side of Alain Menu's Renault and give some protection to his teammate Anthony Reid, who's there on the right-hand side of your screen. Both of these Nissans really on attack mode now. Leslie working over the back of Alain Menu's Renault, and up in front it's Anthony Reid really putting some pressure on James Thompson in the Honda. But boy, oh boy, this used to be a Renault circuit, not now.
But the work that Nissan in particular have put in, they've become the class of the field in the second half of this year's season. And James Thompson and the Honda, they've worked very hard to get consistency into the Honda's handling as the race progresses.
Great view now down through Cascades. This is the hard part of the circuit. We're on board with Alain Menu. The car turns left down Cascades, gets out of balance, then they've got to brake and turn right for the Foster's hairpin. They're as busy as can be, as busy as David Leslie is, trying to plot his way around. And busy indeed, there's Tommy Rusted off on the circuit. That allows Rickard Rydell to move through. Talk about Scandinavian help, taking to the dust to let Rickard through. A little bit aggressive, but he's got through anyway. Sideways now, all of them getting a lot of movement as they go through the double right-hander at Druids, and that lead four really clearing off.
John wants you to run to the end, yeah?
Okay, are the leaders coming round or not?
Yeah, just coming down the straight now.
How do you decide to send John Bincliffe out to check out the engine and the electronics to save them making an engine change or a little bit of extra work for this afternoon's feature race?
Last place I'd want to be doing a quick test run now is with these four bearing down on me. That's exactly what John Bincliffe's doing now. He's heading down the hill and this lot's steaming at us. Now we're on board with Matt Neal, the independent Nissan, and he's off. He's run wide. That's an old hall corner and that's let John Clellan through. There's the view back now from John Clellan's Vauxhall. And there's the sight. Poor old Matt Neal. He's got Derek Warwick right behind him again. Every single race it finishes up being Derek Warwick and Matt Neal. Matt Neal's got nowhere to hide between the pair of them.
Well, at least we're at Oulton Park today, not Snetterton. Remember, that's where Derek Warwick had those gearbox problems, and he ran into the back of Matt Neal.
Matt Neal will be very, very focused, being completely surrounded by a posse of the good old boys. We're on board with the second of them now. This is Derek Warwick. Ahead of us is Matt Neal, and just in front of the pair of them, you can see in the distance is John Clelland having slipped past Matt Neal. With the double right-hander now down to the back straight, so down to Lodge Corner, where so many of them have come off drift, so many have locked up and gone into the gravel. Not so this time. Round and over Deer Leaf.
But the big problem for Rickard Rydell running directly behind Derek Warwick is there is nowhere to get through.
I think he said we need an engine change, Terry. We're getting the one onto the trolley now.
Sending smoke signals about needing an engine change. Smoke pouring out of the back of Jason Plato's car. Obviously no engine change for this race though. That's early warning for race 2.
But Jason Plato's going to try and get as far as he can. This is the sprint race, only 20 laps. Not too far to go.
On board now with Jason Plato, and ahead of us is Ivan Muller. Let's have a look at the power difference here. Jason's struggling at all as we go up through Clay Hill. That big white stripe, incidentally, on the track, that's a big oil leak from early on. It's been covered with cement dust, but it's still a pretty slippery part of the track too.
Well, the signal we'll get from Jason Plato if he is in trouble is when the flies hit the windscreen, they'll live.
And if James Thompson doesn't pick up the pace, it'll be Anthony Reid hitting the back of his car pretty soon. Reid has really reeled him in the last couple of laps as they fly up and over Deer Leaf, across the strike one more time. He's really playing him.
Well, this is the part of any race we've seen all year that Honda begins to get into trouble. They lose grip in the last quarter of the race. Anthony Reid putting all the pressure on as they come down through Cascades. The Nissan we've seen is the quickest car out there, but where can he find room at Oulton Park to put it into the lead?
And this is tactics as well for Anthony Reid. He's the other man in the title hunt. He has to be careful. He can try to pass James Thompson, but he doesn't want to do it and make a mistake. Back on board now with Derek Warwick, and you guessed it, dead ahead, it's Matt Neal in the independent Nissan. Warwick's looking down the inside now. He's left a little bit of a gap. There's a bit of contact, but Derek's through. Where is he? Side by side. Rydell's right behind him as well, hoping he can pick up a bit of action as well, and there he goes. Rydell's through, 2 spots down.
And Rickard Rydell read that situation absolutely perfectly. He got the run on Matt Neal and took a place away.
Matt just going a little bit too deep there, losing momentum and dropping a couple of places in the process. On board now with Paul Radicic in the Peugeot, and Tim Harvey, his teammate, just ahead of him, putting a wheel dangerously wrong as we go through the double apex. Now he's moving down on the inside. That's Morbidelli ahead of us. Morbidelli moves across. Oh, neatly placed into the corner pocket. Delicate little tap by Paul Radicic. Morbidelli spun around. That's better. He's beached. Now he's got it restarted. Meantime, James Thompson's problems have not gone away. There's that man, Anthony Reid, all over the back of him. Now, through the bottom part. Look at the backer. James Thompson Thompson's car sliding all over the place as he's trying to get grip up through Clay Hill again. Now the power of that Honda really comes into play here. You can see he's easily got the legs as we go up and over the top, now into Druids. This is where Anthony Reid really starts to make a little bit of headway. It's from here and down into the bottom corner. There's Morbidelli, meantime, into the pits.
Well, really, further disappointment for the number 2 Volvo driver, Gianni Morbidelli. He's saying, when is my season ever going to be lucky?
Okay, Paul, understand. He's hit Morbidelli, possibly bent the steering. So he's going to bring it in, have a look at the track rod, I guess. Going. Which side of the car is damaged all over? Which side?
Well, 2 cars in the pits tell the story. That's the contact. Steering problems for Radicic, maybe a bent track rod end. And back at the front, it's the same 4. It's Thompson and Anthony Reid behind him in the Nissan. Then it's Alain Menu and David Leslie, Anthony Reid's teammate, rounding out the top 4. And they're still all glued together, and that's the gap as they fly over the top of Deer Leaf. 18 laps, 2 laps remaining. James Thompson's got to hang on for another 2 laps. Leslie, then Van Muller, he's going strongly in 5th. Jason Plato's rounding out the 6th. And John Cleland in 9th position.
Gianni ran off coming out of Druids, and Tim was able to nip by, and I was a little bit behind. I tried to make a run out in the corner. Gianni held the line tight, and I couldn't slow it down, and we touched. And it's just bent the steering arm.
Well, Paul, your eyes might see it that way, but I can assure you there are 3 million pairs of eyes who've got a different opinion.
2 pairs of eyes that are still very, very sharply focused at these 2, and they're Rickard Rydell's, and ahead of him is Derek Warwick. He still has not made any inroads on Derek Warwick. He's driving his heart out, can't get past, and this means that Rickard Rydell, our championship leader, is still outside of the points. Working up through the double right-hander again, and then down the back straight one more time. These are our leaders, and these are very much in the points. It's James Thompson. Right behind him is Anthony Reid. Right behind him is Alain Menu, and right behind him is David Leslie. All 4 of them still together as they were at the start of the race, none of them making an impact on any other. And holding station in 5th position, Ivan Muller of a much improved Audi. Still sticking with these guys, not out of touch of the leaders. This has been, as we said earlier, a real circuit normally for Renault, especially for Alain Menu, really an expert round here, but not actually making enough headway.
Amazing the progress that's taken place in the few months since the first round at Oulton Park, and Alain Menu set a new lap record at that race meeting.
You can't help feeling, as you look now at the pictures from Anthony Reid's car, that he has actually got the legs on James Thompson. It's just working out exactly where he can pass him. Thompson having plenty of power up the hill. And as we come in under the braking section and the very, very busy downhill section after Cascades, Anthony Reid comes into his own. You can see the back of James Thompson's car starting to move around there. On board with James Thompson now. Up and across the start-finish line. Fist clenched, takes the checkered flag.
Oh, yeah! Way to go.
Way to go indeed. A very, very strong drive from James Thompson. Just speculating maybe he wasn't absolutely in the quickest of cars, but it was enough to hold out Anthony Reid, who scores valuable championship points in 2nd position. Alain Menu, a strong drive, not as dominant as before, but 3rd for him. David Leslie in the 2nd Nissan in 4th. And how about that? Ivan Muller in the Audi, rounding out the top 5, staying in touch with the leaders all the way through. Then it's Plato, Cox, Hoy, then John Cleland, and his teammate Derek Warwick.
Yeah, no, I was really pleased. Been quick here in testing. You know, like we were, opposite at Brands Hatch, we were quick in race trim, and I think we've certainly turned the corner with the car, and managed to hold up Anthony through the race, and got him off the line, which I was pleased about, and just didn't look back from there. He was quicker than me in a couple of places, but I used the old power of the Honda down the straights, and he couldn't really get close to me in the braking area, so yeah, I'm very pleased.
So champagne flowing, and a great result for James Thompson, but an even better result for Anthony Reid. 2nd place points, and championship leader Rickard Rydell out of the points in 11th position. Boy, this championship is going right down to the wire.